Imagine you're 4 years old. You don't go to school. You don't have friends. No birthday photos. No doctor visits. No records. No photographs hanging on walls. To the government, you don't exist. To the world, you've never been there. And if one day you disappear, who would notice? Who would call the police? Who would search for you? Who would even know your name? On a hot summer morning in New York City, police made a discovery that would haunt investigators for decades. A little girl, no older than 4 years old, found alone, discarded, hidden away from the world. And what happened next may be even more disturbing than the crime itself. Because nobody came looking for her. Not her parents. Not relatives. Not friends. Not neighbours. Nobody. For 22 years, she was known by only one name: Baby Hope. Tonight, we are going to talk about the heartbreaking story of Angelica Castillo, the child who disappeared without ever officially existing. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. New York City in 1991 was loud, chaotic, alive. Millions of people moving through streets every day. Yellow taxis, subway trains, crowded sidewalks. In a city that never sleeps, people disappear into the crowd all the time. But some disappear in a different way. They disappear before anyone even realizes they were there. On July 23rd, 1991, a horrible discovery was made in Upper Manhattan. Inside a cooler box, investigators found the body of a young girl. She was tiny, only around 3 or 4 years old. Detectives immediately faced a question that should have had an easy answer. Who is she? Normally, when a child disappears, there are phone calls, panic, missing person reports, families desperately searching. But not this time. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Nothing. No one reported a missing daughter. No one came to identify her. No one even asked where she was. It was as if this little girl had appeared from nowhere and disappeared back into nowhere. Investigators searched everywhere. Hospitals, schools, shelters, child welfare agencies, immigration records, medical databases. Anything that could tell them who she was. But every search ended the same way: silence. Imagine being a detective on that case. Every morning, you come to work. You look at her picture. You promise yourself you'll find her family. And every evening, you go home with no answers. The media eventually gave her a name: Baby Hope. Because hope was all anyone had left. Years passed. The city changed. New buildings appeared. Old detectives retired. Children who had been born in 1991 became adults. But Baby Hope remained frozen in time. Still unnamed. Still unknown. The case became one of New York's most heartbreaking mysteries. For 22 years. Think about that. 22 birthdays she never celebrated. 22 years without justice. 22 years without a name. Then technology caught up with history. By 2013, DNA. Science had become far more advanced than it had been in 1991. Investigators decided to try one more time. One final attempt. The same evidence that had sat quietly in storage for decades was tested again. And suddenly, something happened. A match. Not a direct identification, but a family connection. For the first time in 22 years, the silence broke. Investigators began tracing relatives, making calls, conducting interviews, building a family tree piece by piece. And eventually, they learned her real name, Angelica Castillo. She had a name, a real one. Not Baby Hope, Angelica. In many ways, this was the moment detectives had waited for. But the deeper they looked, the darker the story became. Because one name kept appearing, again and again. A family member. Someone close. Someone with access. Someone Angelica trusted. Her cousin. Manny Castillo. Investigators brought him in for questioning. At first, the interview seemed normal. Family history. Memories. Relationships. Then detectives mentioned Angelica. The room changed. You can almost imagine it. The fluorescent lights overhead. The quiet hum of the air conditioner. The sound of a clock somewhere in the background. And then, silence. Long enough to feel uncomfortable. Long enough for everyone in the room to notice. Finally, he spoke. I need to tell you something. And after 22 years, the truth finally came out. According to investigators, Angelica had not been a random victim. She had been hidden from the world. No school. No doctors. No official records. No public life. That's why nobody reported her missing. Because outside her family, almost nobody knew she existed. Imagine how terrifying that is. A child can disappear completely if no one outside the home ever knows they're there. According to the confession, Angelica had been living with relatives. One day, she had been sent to buy groceries. At some point, she asked to return home. And what happened next would follow investigators for the rest of their careers. Manny took a deep breath, as if reliving a night he had tried to forget. He described a quiet night. No witnesses, no interruptions. Angelica was with someone she trusted. There was no sudden chaos, only control. He admitted she never had a chance to escape. The details are heartbreaking. And out of respect for Angelica, I won't focus on the violence itself. What matters is this. A little girl who should have been protected was failed by the adults around her. And then, hidden from the world for decades. When news of the case broke, people across New York were stunned. Because for 22 years, they had imagined Baby Hope as a mystery, a stranger, an unknown child. But she wasn't unknown. She had a name. She had family. She had a life, however short it may have been. At last, she was Angelica Castillo again. There would finally be justice. Or so people thought. But life doesn't always follow the endings we expect. Before trial could happen, Manny Castillo died in custody. There would be no courtroom. No verdict. No sentencing. No final moment where justice is officially spoken aloud. For many people, it felt incomplete. But perhaps there is another kind of justice. Because for 22 years, the world knew her only as Baby Hope. Today, we know her real name, Angelica Castillo. A little girl who laughed, who played, who existed, even if the world didn't know it at the time. Detectives who worked the case later said it changed them forever. Because cases like this remind investigators of something important. Time doesn't erase the truth. It only buries it. And sometimes, if people keep digging long enough, the truth finds its way back into the light. Angelica's story became a symbol, not just for forgotten children, but for every victim whose name has been lost to time. Because being remembered matters. Names matter. Stories matter. And perhaps that's why we keep telling them. Stay safe out there, guys. Take care of your loved ones. And I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.